Yeah, we'll see.
Hey, you guys, welcome to Trust the Process Live from Mind in Philly. I am your host, Mickey Grace, and these are my co-hosts, and they're going to introduce themselves.
I'm Everett Terry. You guys know me, Sports Talk Terry. Listen, Perry, don't take this personal this week. It's all good.
I'm Perry Liss. I wouldn't want to be Everett this week either.
Oh gosh, so Terry Perry, this is going to be a good week. So, top topics. We're going to start off with the Sixers, the trade deadline.
Look, I'll go first. So,
Thank
you know, it wasn't the most eventful trade deadline, I would call it.
Okay.
It tends not to be. Like, there's always this buildup of the 24/7 coverage of everybody that's going to get traded.
Right.
And you would think that all 20 of the league's best players are going to go, and then somehow it ends up being like a few middling second-round picks for like mediocre bench guys. So, you know, we'll start with the Sixers. I couldn't be less happy with what we did, what they did. It makes me trust Colangelo less than I even thought I trusted him already. I think that the Ilyasova trade, while it got us nothing in return, at least opens the door for Dario to play, which is
straightforward.
Yeah, and it was my main concern when we first brought Ilyasova in. I was like, why do we want to take those minutes away from Dario? Not that I love Jeremy Grant that much, but I would rather have seen Dario play all year. Once Ilyasova gets here, plays well, I didn't want to see him go.
Right.
But at least it opens the door for him. On the other hand, the Nerlens trade, I'll let you start with it, but I couldn't be more angry at it.
Wasn't a terrible trade only because of what we now know. We now know that Embiid is going to miss the rest of the year, which people had suspicion and concerns about. And now you understand why they kept Okafor, because Noel gives you zero offensively, and that's something that this team lacks. They lack the ability to put points on the board. They lack the struggle in a half-court offense. That's what Jalil does well. Granted, he can't rebound worth the lick. I could probably grab more rebounds, and I'm a whole foot shorter than him. But the point I'm making is you need somebody that can score on the offensive end of basketball. When you get to a half-court set and need a bucket, that's what he does and does well. They need that off the bench. You give him 25, 28 minutes a game. You don't know how often Embiid's going to play even next year. You have a lock-in guy that you know you're going to be able to bring in with a B unit. It's going to be able to give you production. And if down the road he comes up and there's an ability to move him and get some value for him, then by all means. But we know that the value for him wasn't going to be fair value on his return because of the fact that his trade value was diminished, considering that Noel was there. The bigger piece to the deal is the fact that they weren't going to pay Noel $100 million, which is what people were saying he was going to get. Somewhere between 15 and 20 million, probably around 17, 18 million. 5-6 year deal. Nobody in their right mind from this organization was giving Nerlens Noel a $90 million contract.
Let me bust that argument open for you, because I can't stand listening to this all week because it's so ridiculous. How at the same time, and I'm not just talking about you, I'm talking about everybody that's discussing the Nerlens trade. How at the same time do you say he's only worth Justin Anderson, who is dog crap, and 2 second-round picks, if he's at the same time worth $20 million a year? What makes you think someone's signing him for $20 million?
Well,
it's not going to happen.
Here's the thing. I'll bet you now that he'll get between a $15 and $20 million a year.
No, he won't.
Okay, he's going to get 15 to 20. Listen, Timothy Mozgov, who stinks, got $16 million a year.
Oh, and should he have?
No, but he did because that's what the market commands, and the fact that the TV deals are coming in.
Yeah.
They're going to balloon contracts out of this world with numbers you've never seen
I don't
before.
disagree with that. They're absolutely will. Just like Dellavedova got $13 million a year.
Correct. And
A
he's
bunch
not
of guys that aren't worth it got paid. But the NBA is going to start to see, well, shit, maybe we shouldn't have paid Mozgov and Deng $34 million a year. You know, Magic Johnson sitting there in his cushy office with the Lakers right now thinking, I can't believe I have these two clowns for $34 million a year.
And he can't get rid of him.
Listen, Nerlens Noel is 22 years old. He is supremely talented on the defensive end.
We agree.
To trade him for nothing makes no sense no matter what argument you want to use to support it. We have too many centers. We know that Joel Embiid is going to be the centerpiece of the franchise, and he doesn't want to be a backup. I don't care. He's worth more than Justin Anderson and 2 second-round draft picks. If that's all you can get, then say, sorry guys, if you don't want to pay more than that, you can try your hand on the free agent market. And you wait. This summer you see. Now we know what's someone going to pay him? We have restricted free agency rights. We get the option to match or not match, and it's not like we gave up the ability to get something. What are those 2 second-round picks and Justin Anderson going to get us?
Listen,
Likely nothing. So wouldn't it have been better to roll the dice and maybe you get nothing, but maybe he signs for $12 million a year? Maybe?
I don't disagree that the value compensation was terrible. We're not going to even disagree on that because I killed the trade because they sat here and painted this picture, oh, we got a first round 18 protected. But there was no way on God's green earth that Dallas is going to get to 19. They stink. stink. They
Obviously.
stink. They stink. They
Didn't
stink.
that piss you off that Colangelo had the balls
And
to
he had
say
the-
that?
He had the audacity to say like, "Oh, I'm stupid. I don't understand the fact that Dallas has like the fifth
first
worst record
round
in the
pick.
NBA. There was no way they were going to get near there." So I
And the
understand-
PR department released that bullshit headline.
Absolutely.
Oh
And so
my
the thing is,
God.
they tried to pull the wool over your eyes to make it seem like they got a first round pick when everybody knows it's going to be worth 2 seconds. Justin Anderson is a fringe player, maybe a 10th, 12th guy off the bench at best. Don't disagree with you. Where the argument is you have to look at it. Do you lose Noel for absolutely nothing? Granted, Justin Anderson is a fringe player.
You
but
just
he's a
told me we
body.
got nothing.
He's a body. And the one thing that we do know is that those 2 second round picks can always be put together to a team at the bottom of the first that doesn't want a guaranteed contract.
Okay.
A team like the Cavaliers that isn't going to want it, you can climb back into the first round with those picks later.
Do you know what you get at the bottom of the first?
Second
Justin
round picks.
Anderson.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I mean, but listen, at the same time, there have also been great guys that come out the second round.
Look, I'm not saying that Nerlens had to be long-term part of our plans.
Right.
I wanted him to be. I think that they didn't give any credence to whether he could play with Joel at the same time. They played 8 minutes together all year. They needed to see that. And to dump him for nothing, I think really what it turned out to be was Colangelo overplayed his hand with Ja. He tried to move him and tried to play that little game where he held him out of the game, didn't bring him to Charlotte, and tried to force someone's hand, missed out, panicked, and traded Nerlens for nothing. And I think we will regret it. I think he's going to be an all-star when he's in his prime. No one in the history of the NBA has put up defensive numbers like Nerlens Noel put up in his first 2 years.
I'm
just saying.
I'm going to tell you, I call him the equivalent of Sam Dollarbear, who was never an all-star.
And he's worth a lot more than 2 second-round picks.
Okay.
Fair, but he's
She's
not.
already tired of hearing it.
Hey,
Let's
that's
move
fine.
on.
Okay, so one thing I did want to know, you kind of touched on a little bit. Are you guys happy that Okafor is staying?
No, I mean, I'm on the same mindset of Nerlens where you don't trade just to trade. So I get we have a logjam. I get it's not the best scenario for everyone. Maybe Nerlens isn't thrilled. Maybe Ja's not thrilled. But you know what? They handled it well. And what I will give Jahlil Okafor is
Oh, that's
that.
a first.
Yeah,
He's been a
well,
pro.
he has been. You can't ask to have handled a situation better than him. And he's a kid, he's 20 years old. The way he's handled this is really impressive. I wish he could rebound the way that he can handle being dangled in trade
Listen,
talks.
considering the way he acted off the court last year, at the very minimum, he should do is be quiet, take his fact that he's getting paid money, even if he's sitting on the bench. Does he want to play? Sure, I get it. Does he have talent? Yes, but he also understands his deficiencies. He knows he's not a good rebounder.
Oh, you think he knows that?
How does he not? He's 7 feet tall, getting out rebounded by guys 4 inches shorter than him.
I bet he thinks
Shorter
it's
than
everybody
him.
else's fault.
Oh, I'm sure he probably does
Yeah.
think that too. But, you know, that comes from the fact that he's been a spoiled kid who's always been at the top elite level his whole life, never been forced to play and work exceptionally hard because he had a natural talent and he was tall. Not necessarily athletic, but just tall. Nerlens is athletic, but not necessarily skilled. See the difference in the two?
Yeah.
And that's why Nerlens Noel works harder and why he'll probably get a dumb contract this offseason.
Okay, before we move on, and we're still talking about the trade deadlines, let's talk about the Lakers trade, Lou Will,
Former Sixer.
former Sixer, that's right.
It sounds like he's so old. He's like a long time ago that he was a
He
Sixer.
came in out,
He's a high school kid.
yeah, fresh out of high school, and he's earned a very good NBA income, lived
Oh
very
my God.
good, managed to be one of the best 6 players in the history of the NBA in terms of production off the bench. His efficiency is really high, and now he's playing in an offense in Houston that's going to give him the green light to literally jack as much as he wants, which is what he had in LA, just on a team that wasn't winning.
Yeah.
I think that Magic Johnson came right in and said, there's no way on God's green earth I'm going to let the Sixers get my pick.
Yeah.
And he said, we're going to blow this thing
Yeah.
up and give away everybody. Don't be surprised if you see Mozgov getting 27 minutes a game, speaking of which. You're going to see Luol Deng getting heavy minutes. They might let Brandon Ingram play a little bit more, which they have been doing lately, but the idea is they
been
want
starting.
to lose. They want them to lose. They want the young guys to play.
Well, let's
and
explain to
win.
the audience why. So, if the Lakers get a top 3 pick this year, it doesn't convey to the Sixers. In that case, the pick that they owe Orlando from the Bynum deal in the past
Right.
becomes 2 second-rounders.
Wow.
If it conveys this year, if they pick 4 or 5 or 6 and it conveys to the Sixers, they owe next year's pick to Orlando. So under no circumstances do they want that pick to convey this year because then they're going to lose 2.
Correct.
So yeah, it benefits them to be bad this year,
Correct.
which is why I thought they would dump Nick Young and they didn't. They
Right.
get rid of Lou Will. They don't get anything in return, but I think it's the right move
was
for
the
them.
right move.
I think it's
Trade
you know
for a
maybe
contender.
a little of an overstatement to call him one of the best 6 men ever. We're not talking about Manu Ginobili here, but he's a very good offensive player. I think he's going to be a perfect fit on Houston. It gives them a scorer for the 8 minutes a game that Harden's not in, and you know, and they can pair Harden with Lou Will
On the floor.
and Gordon at the
Secondary
same
ball
time,
handler.
and see how that works out. So I think it's a good addition for them, and I think Houston kind of had a good trade deadline because none of the teams ahead of them did anything. You didn't have the Warriors really upgrade.
They didn't have to. They're
The
going to get.
Spurs didn't upgrade.
Wait, so
Yeah.
who do you think is the biggest trade winner Like what team?
Yeah.
You want to say the Pelicans, but they're
The easy
0-3 with DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah.
They haven't won a game yet, and he's about to sit for a technical. So you don't really know who the winner is until you get later in the season to see how these guys pan out. So
That's fair.
far, in terms
Well, that's
of
why we have a talk show to debate before we know these.
correct, and I understand it. I'm just saying that for the record, we don't really know.
Okay, but
who's
just
gonna win or lose.
right now, who do you think the biggest winner will be?
I mean, obviously, it's going to be New Orleans. They got the biggest prize in the trade deadline, and they have the best chance to move ahead and really make it hit long term.
I'm going to actually go different on this and say that the Cavs were the big winner. Not because they did anything, which they didn't, but because of guys that were released from their contract, they were waived in Darren Williams and Andrew Bogut. Williams already locked up, Bogut probably will. I think they added a lot of depth for their championship run. And and the Raptors, who actually added Ibaka, had a pretty decent trade deadline. They had PJ Tucker. They didn't really give up anything. They gave up Terrence Ross. Lowry's now hurt, and he's out 5 weeks. So I think that puts them away. Paul George and Jimmy Butler stayed on their respective teams, didn't go to Boston, so you don't have to worry about them. Washington, all they added was Bogdanovich, so you don't. So I think Cleveland is a winner in the sense that they added two bench pieces.
They were cakewalk in the East anyway.
I mean, not definitely. Kevin Love's hurt. I wouldn't sleep on this. Watch.
Boston can give them a series with Kevin Love.
If Kyrie has a little bit of a setback or LeBron gets a little banged up in the playoffs, you got to watch out for these teams because they don't have Kevin Love there to save them. They don't have a big three right now. They have two.
So
they're beatable.
Yeah.
They're
So
beatable.
who's your biggest loser for the deadline?
The Sixers. I mean, this is easy. The Sixers are the biggest loser because of the fact that
Of
look what
course.
they
I
had
don't know
a
why I
chance
asked
to
him
do.
first.
Well, you got to look at it this way. Colangelo destroyed his market when he came out as his first press conference, almost his first press conference, said, "Oh, we have a logjam at center. We're gonna have to trade one of these guys." You've given away your cards. You've played your hand. That is one thing, which is why the Hinkyites are going crazy. Sam Hinkie would have never done that. Sam Hinkie would have found a way to take Nerlens Noel and flip him into a 1 this year, a 1 next year, and 3 2s down the road because that's what Sam Hinkie did well. So say what you want about Sam Hinkie, but his value was he knew how to maximize guys. He took Drew Holiday, flipped him into Nerlens Noel and Michael Carter Williams.
And then flip Michael Carter Williams into the pick that we're going to get from the Lakers.
Correct. So
Before he was exposed by the league as someone that couldn't really play.
correct.
Not after
And
the
not
fact.
after.
Wait,
which
so
now
are-
he can't even play. He doesn't
Are
get any time in
the
Chicago at all.
Sixers your biggest losers too?
No, because look, I can at the same time be down on what the Sixers did on the trade deadline and up on the Sixers' future because Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are otherworldly talents, and Dario Saric is proving to be a locked-up, guaranteed starter in this league for the next 12 years. So I don't. As much as I'm pissed off about the Nerlens trade, I don't think it's devastating. So they're a loser, the Mavs are a winner, but I would say the biggest loser is probably the Boston Celtics. Look, you have the Nets pick, which is going to convey this year as either 1, 2, or 3. You have Jaylen Brown, who I don't think very highly of, but has value on the trade market. He was just picked number 3, and he's an athletic freak, and he's 19 years old. You have Jai Crowder, Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley. You have a logjam there on your wings. They could.
turn any of those into a
Ainge
stud.
needs to finally turn these things into something. He had an opening this year because Kevin Love's hurt, because LeBron's
This might have
been
been their
so
window.
worn down. The Warriors are in their first year together. That team next year is going to be unbeatable, right?
Right.
So if you're going to beat the Warriors, it's got to be this year before they go
Right.
through that playoff run together.
Right.
Why don't the Celtics make that move, bring Jimmy Butler in, and try for it? I think I would have done it if I were them. I would have figured out a way to pull the trigger.
Okay, so let's just jump right into Sixers talk. So Simmons.
Well, we just talked about the Sixers.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
well, it's
specifically Sixers talk.
Okay. Oh.
Specifically,
Okay.
not just sidebars on the trade deadline. This is specifically about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid.
Okay.
So Simmons is officially shut down for the season. Joel Embiid declared out indefinitely today.
Well, Ben Simmons being shut down for the season was something that was a risk. We didn't know what was taking so long with the foot. Now we understand why. The only thing that kind of pisses people off is the fact that Colangelo could have said all of this months ago and people wouldn't have jumped up and down. Same thing with Embiid. You had a funny feeling that something wasn't right with his knee versus just coming out and saying, we don't know how long he's going to be out. Oh, he'll be back in these games and these games. But that was a ticket grab. Trying to get people to come out and
So you didn't like the way they handled it?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And I'm barely a fan, but they handled it wrong.
Barely.
No question,
Okay.
handled it wrong. I think the city overreacts. I don't think that that ownership and management necessarily owe you the right to know everything.
No.
You know, I'm not of that mindset. I think that you can distance yourself from ownership and still be like happy that the Sixers are in a certain place. And I don't think Philly like overreacts to everything, which is what we're
We're a
kind
little
of
dramatic.
That's
We are.
what they
A little
do.
dramatic.
And we deserved it.
Passion.
Well, we deserve it. I mean, we have one championship since I'm alive. I'm born in 1984. We have one title since I'm born.
Facts.
So we deserve the right to be passionate about it. You know, but look, I think that you got to take your time. Like, this was never going to be a 3-year process,
We
a
agree.
4-year process. This is always going to be long term. LeBron James was always going to dominate the East till 2020.
Until he's out of
You
here.
need to set up your time for after that, not then. And so Ben Simmons can't play this year. It sucks. I'm pissed about it. I wanted to see the kid play. Joel Embiid, I watched him play for 31 games. I know he's a star. I'd like to see him more. But ultimately, their health is more important. So I want to see Joel sit the rest of the year. I want to see Ben sit. Well, Ben is sitting the rest of the year. It sucks. I'm pissed about it. But I'm not going to throw a hissy fit and be like, Sam Hinkie didn't know what he was doing because these two guys are hurt this year. Sam Hinkie knew exactly what he's
So
doing.
trust the
And
process.
he nailed it. And you're going to see that in a couple years. And I don't think those people should be able to celebrate when we have our parade.
I'm gonna throw you
What?
a question.
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna throw
don't-
you a question. Somebody says to you, the Sixers guaranteed will lose 60 games for the next 3 years, but then be a championship contender. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Most people would say hell no.
Well, I
But
am.
they're tired of losing 60 games a year.
Yeah.
And that's why you're where you are now. See, people are tired of watching. At what point do you start to put a winning product on the floor?
Now, this.
And there's the
Yeah.
argument.
And they're a playoff team next year. They're going to be a playoff team next year.
In the
Yeah.
East, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
So basically, trust the process.
Yeah,
Or not.
definitely. Not Colangelo's process, but I trust Hinkie's, and he already got us there.
right.
So.
Okay.
Somewhere gloating this whole thing through.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So this past Saturday was the Stadium Series, Flyers versus Pittsburgh. And yeah, it was the most viewed regular season game other than the Winter Classic.
Typically draws well.
Does it?
Yeah, because it's an outdoor game. It's a different
Something
venue.
It was an
Right.
outdoor game. It was
Right.
It gives
Extremely
non-hockey
fun.
fans like a reason
Something
to
to
watch the
watch.
game.
Right.
okay.
Do you watch hockey?
I like hockey. I don't necessarily like keep up with it well,
Right.
but I
But
like watch. I like going to the stadium to watch the.
Fair enough. So,
game.
but if you were gonna watch like one game, it'd probably be that one that was different.
yeah.
There was something else
Right.
to the game rather than just
Yeah,
regular season
I guess that's
hockey.
fun. I don't like that it's so far away from like outside versus
Yeah.
inside. Like I
No, I
want to
get
be
that.
up against the glass when they check. Like I like being on the blue line, but
Yeah, but if you were gonna watch it on TV, I'm saying.
oh, okay,
Oh, yeah.
that's fair.
And you have that cool aspect of like if it snows, which it has for a lot of the
Right,
games, and it
right.
started to
It's
flurry a
kinda
little.
dope.
That's
It's kinda
interesting.
dope.
Yeah. So it was cool. It's cool to be a part of that. We had it in Philly one year, and I think that the NHL they need things like that. There's
Right.
not. The
Trying to
NHL
double
is
buzz.
by far the
Fourth.
yeah, and I don't
Not even
think
close.
I don't think it's necessarily the fourth. I think there's 3 main sports. I think that's right there with like the British Premier League, like soccer, which is on Saturday morning.
I don't think
ESPN.
it's-
They
I
have a
think
bigger
it's that
TV deal than the NHL. They really do.
Yeah, I mean, but they're above, Seoul and,
Yeah, they're above
soccer.
that. Yeah,
Right.
but it gives everyone a reason to watch, and I think they did. And the Flyers aren't going to do it this year, but they had a nice game.
But
It was
can
exciting.
do you think that the Flyers like going forward can like hang with those elite teams?
Not this year.
Not
No.
this year at all. Like it's not coming.
They can't stop a nosebleed. They struggle in terms of goal play consistency, and then when they do have good goal play consistency, they don't put up enough goals. It's like the most baffling thing I've ever seen. I don't understand it. Why they can't get two of them to click at the same time? They beat a Stanley Cup.
They're just
team.
not good enough.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna move right along to our Eagles talk to football. Very exciting.
Love it.
Very exciting.
You must be pumped.
There you go. This is your segment. Let's go. Woo!
You know what they probably don't know? Like,
Oh yeah,
this girl could ball.
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
All right.
So, any cuts that you personally wanna mention? Because
I mean,
I
I,
know.
hope so. I mean, the Eagles announced that they're under. They have less than $20 million in free cap space.
Yeah,
And
they're
there's
with no
all these
cap.
moves that we talked about.
They don't have to
need make.
announce it. The information's out there. They have
Fair.
they have 10 million, but they have a way to get a lot more.
yeah.
At this point, if they were going to cut, they would have already made the cut. So what are they waiting for? Draft day?
No,
Maybe.
that's not correct. So they
So-
save more money on Michael Kendrick's deal if they wait till after June 1st to cut him.
Uh-huh.
I think that they're trying to find a trade partner for Barwin,
trash.
Kelsey, Kendricks, right?
Trash.
So to me, I unload any of those guys if I don't find a trade partner. But I think that they're worth 7th round picks, 6th round picks to take on that contract.
Depends on what team. I mean,
Yeah,
but by
depends on
then,
team.
most teams will already be through most of their cap, and they're,
Look, I ultimately think that I know Barwin's not an Eagle next year. I
Right.
know that
Kendrick's
Ryan
probably
Matthews is
not.
not an Eagle next year.
We agree.
The other guys, I think that the can't
Oh,
talk
look,
today.
Who's tongue twisted?
Whoa.
The debates are going to be between Jason Kelsey and Michael Kendricks.
Right.
Okay.
Because
fair.
those are the guys where you don't save a ton of money, but you save enough where it probably makes sense. But they're still young enough and talented enough that I don't know if it's necessarily the right move to get rid of them. I'm ready to move on. I want to see Samalo play center. I'm ready to be done with Kelsey. I would try to find a trade partner. He's not owed that much money. I think they should probably be able to find a trade partner like a 5th round pick for him.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So-
maybe Andy Reid, maybe Chip Kelly if he ever got a job.
A report came out that Alshon Jeffrey will not be tagged by the Bears. Do the Eagles pick him up? I know you would like us to.
Well, listen, again, Antonio Brown just signed a $17 million a year contract, which is like the richest contract ever for a wide receiver.
Deserved it.
I don't see how Alshon Jeffrey comes in and commands any less than $15 million, which would put him well over the Eagles cap.
No.
He's gonna ask for 15.
He can ask for all he wants. He's had back-to-back bad seasons. He's
gonna say, yeah,
Well,
he
he played
hasn't.
with the Bears.
Okay.
Hurts his value. Plays with Jay Cutler, who's an inefficient quarterback.
You
He
can
knows
put up receiving numbers on a bad team. Come on. Look what Allen Robinson does in Jacksonville. They stink.
Bortles was
Jordan
okay.
Matthews is putting up
Yards.
1,000 yards in a bad passing offense
Bortles
here.
wasn't.
Come on.
Jordan Matthews is a lot.
Look, if you can ball, you can ball. And Alshon
Everybody knows
can.
Alshon Jeffrey's a number
He
one.
can ball. There's no doubt about it. I want him. I'm praying the Eagles get him. There's no way he's going to get $15 million. I'll tell you where he's going to fall. He's going to fall in the Jeremy Maclin contract range of $13 million a year. About 4 years, $50 million, right around there. 4 years for 52, with about 30 guaranteed. I guarantee you that's going to be the
Concerned
contract.
about that suspension situation.
No, that's the thing. That's going to be why the team's trying to drive down price on him.
If anything, that drives it down.
Yeah, they're going to say, look, you had back-to-back seasons under 1,000 yards. You're one
He gets injured.
you're one
He gets
pill
injured
from
a lot.
GNC away from being out for 10
Him and Lane
games.
Johnson go to
Agreed.
GNC
Yeah.
together.
Agreed.
So-
I never thought we were getting Alshon.
No, but I think Alshon's an Eagle. I really do. I think it's going to
I
happen.
actually don't, for whatever reason.
I don't either.
Like, I just don't see it happening. Like, everyone would like it too. We need.
Well, do you
somebody
think
to
like
catch the ball.
Deshaun, or do you just think that we're
I
going to
would,
go to the draft?
I would
or what?
love Deshaun to come back. If he can be that mature, like older guys that handle those Nelson Aguilars and help them
Terrell
get to
Pryor
that.
makes
What?
more sense.
Terrell Pryor's going to get tagged. What makes you think that Deshaun Jackson has the ability to be like a mature anything?
Well, because I want him to. I didn't say
Right.
I don't know if he has the ability to. I just would like him to. Like as a diehard Eagles fan, I would love it to be Deshaun. I don't think it will be, but I would love for that to happen. He's
Fair.
older now, whatever. So the Chiefs will likely cut Jamal Charles for $6.2 million.
Yeah.
Did we tag him?
30 years old, you're not going to get him. Keep him moving.
Look, I personally want the guy we're going to talk about next. We're going to start in our athlete focus that we go through players that the Eagles could draft.
Athlete
So
spotlight.
I'm going to want him. But if not, I'd be more than happy with Jamal Charles on a small 2-year contract for like $2 million a year. He's got familiarity with the offense. Doug Peterson's coached him. He is back-to-back seasons he's gotten hurt, so he hasn't had the workload that other running backs have had. But he also has injury
Injured is a
concerns.
problem, and he's
Look,
plus side of 30, and he's a running back.
but at the same time, he's had a serious NFL career with big-time numbers. He's an explosive
3
player.
years ago.
No, as recently as 2014.
That was 3 years ago.
Look, I'm not saying I want to spend money on him. I want Dalvin Cook.
Somebody
Let's
will
get to
jump out
that.
the window and pay him.
Let's get
Okay,
to Dalvin.
so this is our segment called Athlete Spotlight. Dun, dun, dun. And this week is on.
What's that?
was my lead intro music for the
We need,
spotlight.
that should be the lead into
We
the
need
show.
like
dude.
lights to come down to like the
Yeah.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire lights. The
No.
dun, dun, dun. Cause okay, so our spotlight
He
this
just gave
week.
you a no.
Because he's a jerk.
Yeah.
All right, so this week our athlete spotlight is on Dalvin Cook. So he's a running back from Florida State.
Yes.
Boy,
Stud running back.
So look,
stud running back.
I jotted down some
Okay.
numbers because they were so mind-blowing I didn't want to forget them. Dalvin Cook is the leading rusher in the history of Florida State, has the best 2 single seasons in the history of Florida State, the leading touchdown scorer in the history of Florida State rushing game.
Okay.
He's got 3,450 yards and 38 touchdowns over the past 2 years. Okay, 730 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving on top of that. He's got his biggest games: 210 against Miami, 270 the year before against Miami, 180 and 195 against Florida, 185 and 200 against Clemson. Huge bowl game in the Orange Bowl, 200 yards against Michigan with a touchdown. The kid balls out in the biggest games.
Okay.
If you watch the Seminole special, that 24/7 thing they had on Showtime, he's a leader. Everybody loves him. He's a good kid. He is the perfect pick. People want to say don't pick running back in the first round of the NFL draft. If you get the right running back, you're damn right you pick a running back in the first
So you
round.
think
of
the
draft.
Eagles should,
I
even
think
though we
he
don't necessarily need a running back?
Totally revolutionizes the offense. He makes Carson better. He makes Jordan Matthews better. He might make Nelson Aguilar able to catch a football. That's how he's
Oh,
Here's
God.
why I'm going to say no. I agree with everything you said about Dalvin Cook. Fantastic college player. I think that he's going to be a fantastic NFL player. But running backs, unless you're Barry Sanders, are only as good as your offensive line. The Eagles do not have a great offensive line. He's not
Totally
running-
disagree.
He's not running behind the same kind of line that Ezekiel Elliott is running behind in Dallas. Can we agree there?
Yeah, but they're the best in the league. I'm not saying that the Eagles are the
And,
best,
and
but
what I'm saying to you is people expect him to come in and do what Ezekiel Elliott did for Dallas last year and be a game changer.
Okay.
He's not going to be that in the system. Can he catch passes in the backfield, create a little space in offense? Absolutely, but there are too many holes on this roster in a deep running back draft to not address need first. Corner and wide receiver are the 2 biggest needs that they have to address first. If they address running back and they deflect all these other things till further in the draft, they're going to do themselves a disservice later on. It's going to hurt them because they need to address the corner, wide receiver are the two areas they need to focus on. And I think multiple picks at those two positions is going to help make this team better.
I don't disagree, but let's say Mike Williams goes before the Eagles pick at 14 or 15, depending on the coin toss, which is this week at the
Sure.
scouting combine. I don't reach and take Corey Davis from Western Michigan or Central Michigan.
Corey
wherever
Davis
he's
is
from.
actually projected to go ahead of Mike Williams.
I
In
like-
some mocks, I've seen him ahead of Mike
Look,
Williams.
I-
He's a better route runner.
Here's what it comes down to for me. In the first round, it's only maybe a 50% hit rate.
Correct.
Not just on quarterbacks, on every player. If I target a guy that I believe will be the best player in the draft, and I believe that Dalvin Cook will be the best player that comes out of this draft, and I can get him at 14, I don't care what position he's in, I'm taking him.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a problem that the Eagles did that last year? That we took Carson Wentz first, and then we made it a one-man draft? Like, it wasn't that
They
year.
made it a one-man draft, but quarterback is the most important position on the team. So I understand the need to take him if he's there, because if you wait, the fall off was huge unless you're getting a Dak Prescott.
Samalu, Vaitai, and Mills might have something to say about that one-man draft.
Yeah,
Mike.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to move on to the thing that I know zero about, and I'm not afraid to say it because it's against the law, and I have no idea how to even explain this. So this is our gambling session that I'm going to
Let us
handle.
take it
Yeah,
away.
let you
Yeah.
take this
Well,
from
let's
me.
go
It's
quick
about the
because
pitchers this week. It's
We
about
ran a
the
little long on the
Cy
Sixers
Young
talk.
lines.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So we'll go baseball real quick. AL
Real quick.
Cy Young, and you want to go AL or you want to go NL?
I'm
The American League, National League.
Well, you give your picks and I'll give.
Okay, so for the NL, the favorite is Clayton Kershaw. Obviously, he's the best
Obviously,
pitcher.
obviously.
Might be the best pitcher that ever lived. I think he's. No,
He
I'm
struggles
not.
in the postseason.
He
though.
does. He does. That's the only thing holding
I
him
mean,
back.
that's a stretch.
Yeah, but no, regular season wise, he
He's-
probably is the best
Go.
pitcher that ever lived.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
He's 1-1. That's how. I mean,
Right.
to win the Cy Young at 1-1, and
Right.
truthfully, I don't see how you bet against him. I think he wins it.
can't. You almost can't.
He almost won it last year, missing half the season.
Correct.
So if you go on a flyer, Carlos Martinez 28-1, you could really cash in. I think he's great on the Cardinals. I think he's gonna have a big year, and I like Syndergaard on the Mets for 8-1.
Always
Okay.
keep an eye on Max Scherzer. I'm just a Max Scherzer guy.
Yeah, you're only getting 3-1 on him, so I'm just thinking on a bigger payday.
Odds.
If I'm gonna go the safe bet, I'm going Kershaw. If
Fair.
I'm gonna go odds, I'll go Carlos Martinez.
There it
You
is.
take the AL.
Okay. AL or NL?
AL, I just went NL.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. My AL pick is I like Chris Sale. I understand that he gives you the lowest odds to win, but Chris Sale is a stud pitcher. He was a stud pitcher last year. He's going to be great this year. I like
on the
fact
Red
that he's
Sox.
in Boston.
Yeah.
Right. He's going to have the hitting behind him, which is something he struggled to get in Chicago. That honestly, there's really it's a Clayton pick. It's like if you're going to bet, you're going to bet with the odds that's going to give you the best chance to keep it.
Sure.
Okay.
Smaller park might affect him a little bit hitting wise, but
Little bit,
yeah,
but
he'll be
not
great.
Okay, well, I can come back now. So we're going to jump right into our fantasy sports, fantasy basketball. So there's so many moves happening this week, just about the players changing teams and such. Who are the players that will break out just because of the change of location or regress?
Well, I think last week we talked about some guys from Sacramento, Buddy Hield. I like what Willie Cauley-Stein did, putting up a
Yeah,
huge
big game.
double-double in his very first game. Lou Will, again, lit up 27 on 15 shots. I mean, efficient. I like the trades. Noel, surprisingly, is going to be a guy I think is going to have, monster numbers. He already had a double-digit rebound game already with Dallas in his first game. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into that offense. He's going to get a lot of looks on offense. Maybe he develops his game a little bit. If he can give you 10 points per and 10 boards, stud. Now he's better than Dallenberg.
Do you think anybody will regress?
He's better
Like
than
a lot?
Dallenberg.
Regress a lot?
Yeah. Like
From the trade or not from the trade?
From the trade
from
deadline.
trade, yeah.
Maybe Bogdanovich, because he's going to a system where he's coming off the
Yeah.
bench. He's not going to get as many looks.
Good
Where
call.
in the Nets he had free shooting range. He could jack as much as he wanted. No penalty for a terrible
I like
Nets
that.
team.
That's a
Okay.
good call. I would say the guy to be looking out for, Kyle Lowry just went down 5 weeks with a
Right.
wrist injury. He's on my team. I'm miserable about it.
Oh.
Corey Joseph
Yes,
is going to
he's
step
gonna
into that
start.
role.
And
2
when he
games so
played,
far, he's averaging
yeah.
13 and 6 with 2 steals. I think
Yeah.
he's going to be nice there. He's
Played
not going to blow up, but a nice fill-in piece. If you had picked him up, that's a good guy to go.
You got to play behind.
Jameer Nelson stepped up. He took that job from Emmanuel Mudiay, and I think
been
he's.
hurt up and down. He's terrible. He can't
Yeah.
shoot at all. He's awful.
Yeah. And then Rashawn Holmes, Sixer.
There it
10,
is.
Okay.
10 and 6, averaging 3.5 blocks and a steal and a half in the 2 games.
Can't
That's
outrun
fine.
it. You can't.
Yeah.
Hey, Noel Jr. There it is.
Fair. Okay, so we are going to jump right now into rapid fire. So this is I'm going to ask a question, you answer it. That's it. Okay? So
That's it.
that's it.
Okay.
No more. Okay, so Butler sweeps Nova. Does that change your thought on what Nova can achieve in the postseason?
It does for me because I thought that they've kind of shown you the blueprint on how to beat teams. If you watch how they attacked Nova, they showed no fearlessness. They took Nova out of their comfort zone, and they were able to defend the perimeter well, which is what Nova depends on.
Yeah, I don't see Nova repeating. I think that It doesn't change my outlook on them being a top seed. They're going to be a 1 or a 2. They're going to get somewhere in the tournament, whether it's Sweet 16, Elite 8. They're going to get there. I don't think they go back to the Final Four, but Jay Wright, he's the man. I got to give it up to him, whatever they do.
Give him a chance. He's winning.
Okay, so Super Dario, he averaged a little more than 16 points per game. Does he win Rookie of the Month, Rookie of the Year if Joel doesn't play?
Dario is guaranteed Rookie of the Month. That's not even debatable.
Okay.
Rookie of the Year, Joel Embiid has to get to 41 games. I don't see how you give him Rookie of the Year unless
He's
he
already
plays
out
half the
indefinitely.
games.
Right.
So, I think you're right. I don't think he gets there. I don't think he plays another game this year.
Right.
So, while he is by far and away the best rookie, maybe one of the best rookies of all time, Dario's going to win Rookie of the Year.
We agree. So it'll be Dario this year and probably Simmons next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so Magic Johnson becoming the president of the basketball operations for the Lakers. Would you even consider a Sixers legend to do that here in Philly?
Yes.
If so, who?
Which one?
Charles Barkley. I'd love to see Charles Barkley as an executive for the Sixers.
Yeah.
You kidding me? He be bashing those boys every week and pulling triggers on trades and then talking about they don't have the drive to be great. I'd love it. You get all types of sound bites.
Oh god.
I wish I could do the Charles voice and like mock you a little
Yeah,
bit, but
a
I
little
can't.
bit.
I don't want to sound stupid. So I will say that I definitely don't want Charles Barkley running my team. I would have him as the announcer, like if him and Zumoff teamed up. I could live with
Like, these
that.
boys,
Yeah.
they just
You gotta have the
Yeah.
ball.
You know who I
How's
could
it
I
going?
could see in that role? I could see Julius Erving. I think the doctor
Okay.
could get some damage
Dr.
done. Do I
J.
want
I
him?
was a fan.
No, there's only one GM I want. Sam Hinkie is the only GM I ever want to be the Sixers.
What are we doing? Let it go.
I just
Let it go.
can't.
He's
I
outta
just
here.
can't get over it. I'm
He's
never gonna get over it.
he's
Even
gone.
when we win a title, he deserves the first
You
ring
sound
that
like
we
that.
get.
You sound like that
Wait.
Jilted ex. who-
You know what else I sound
shut
like?
up.
You know what else I sound like? Right. So good.
Right.
Yeah.
They actually asked Allen Iverson, like, would he consider? They
Oh,
asked Allen Iverson,
that was
would he
funny.
consider? And he
Yeah.
was like,
Hell no, them boys gonna make more money than me.
Right, he's like, I'm never coaching
Coach.
anybody that makes more
Right.
money than me. Okay, so trade deadline a few ways away for the NHL. Should the Flyers make any moves?
Listen, they blew it. They should have went and got Ben Bishop. They need a goalie bad. I screamed the goaltending was their biggest issue. Ben Bishop went for peanuts. A 34-year-old goalie and a 19-year-old kid, granted, could be good, and a bunch of picks that don't mean anything. That's the move they should have made that would have gotten them in a position to be great.
Okay.
You got 8 teams fighting for one wild card spot. The Flyers are jumbled in there. They're not very good. They're going to
No.
be inconsistent.
Correct.
I would hold on to the young assets, play for next year. There was no reason to make
They
a
missed
splash.
their
this
window.
year.
Okay, so Jason Peters is staying. He'll return for the 2017 season. Good or bad?
Look, it's great. He's a Pro Bowl left tackle. He's a Hall of Fame left tackle. He's a little on the older side, obviously.
Oh, I'm in it too.
But to just keep that consistency, protecting
Carson
Wentz,
needs it.
I really wanted them to restructure it. Maybe Peters wasn't willing to do it, whatever it is.
Why should he?
I agree. Why should he? I would have
Okay.
liked him to, but I'm okay with him
He
staying.
don't play for the
One more
fans.
year.
He plays for
Yeah.
himself.
Okay. So Franco came out, came out the gate on fire. Do you expect a big year from him?
Not with that hole in his swing.
What? Just because he swings for home runs?
Every pitch.
Okay, and he's gonna hit 35
No
of them.
problem.
Okay, and how many strikeouts? How many misses?
Who
how many
cares?
Right, and that's why the Phillies will win 77 games this year.
I remember Ryan Howard striking out a lot in 2008, and I remember us winning a World Series.
And I remember him striking out a whole lot
Hell of
after
a
that,
point.
stinking the bottom half of his career.
I
Hell of a
think
point.
expect a big year from Miguel Franco.
Okay.
Okay, so Sixers. Anybody have the Sixers score?
I
Win?
think we
They
lost.
probably lost by a billion.
They lost.
Well, why is
Max.
that a surprise?
Producers
Max.
interjection. I think
So we lost to the Warriors just now
No
since
surprise.
we've been
Klay
going
Thompson
on.
got hot.
Okay,
They
so
played well though, from what I saw.
Right.
yeah, from a little
Or the
bit.
Warriors played bad. They went like 1 for 40 from 3.
Okay, anyway, we're right now going to do final thoughts, and we're going to start with Terry.
Okay, so my final thought is about this NCAA kid, Brandon Day, who attacked the referee. Listen, I don't know what's going on with these kids nowadays. Are you kidding me? You're going to come out and attack the referee, the umpire, whatever the hell you want to call him, the goalie official. It didn't matter, but he attacked him. We still don't know why. He got charged criminally based on what? I understand that there's a lack of competition. There's no more of these games that's going to be played because of the lack of competitiveness with the teams. But it was just stupid. It was uncalled for. And as a freshman, what kind of legacy does that leave?
So I'm gonna go away from sports, and I'm gonna go with what I think most of America saw last night at the Oscars.
Oh.
I don't understand for the life of me how that happens. How do you get the wrong envelope in two
It happened
75-year-old?
with the Miss Universe too. It happened.
Yeah,
Steve
like
Harvey did that.
it's one thing on a Miss Universe pageant where maybe 1 million people are watching. You have 50-some million people watching the Oscars.
I didn't watch it.
Get it right. Give them the right envelope. Those people's like,
That
I
was so
can't imagine
embarrassing.
being
That was so
a La La Land producer and you're up there thinking you won Best
The guy came
Picture,
up and said, oh, well,
and all all of a sudden you
We didn't
lose.
win.
Congratulations to Moonlight, but come on, Oscars, get your shit together.
I agree. That was hilarious to watch, though.
All right, you guys. Thank you for watching My New Phillies. Trust the process live. We are Perry, Terry, and Mickey, and thanks for watching My New Philly, where something is always new and everything is always Philly.
Peace.
You gotta learn that, man.
Yeah, you gotta join in on the choir.
Yeah.